Hi guys, Aaron Wilson back in NRG Stadium Monday afternoon after open locker room earlier this morning and a press conference with Texans coach DeMeco Ryans. And you guys, I watched that on YouTube, went over some things. No status update on Joe Mixon. Still not hearing anything about any hope for return at this time. And then Cade Stover, minor update. Cade is doing well, according to DeMeco Ryans. In his recovery, he broke his foot, as I reported, and had surgery, and have seen Cade make progress. I've noticed definitely an improvement in mobility, and so he's probably within a few weeks span of getting back to practice. So progression, same thing with Jimmy Ward, very similar in terms of timetable. Jimmy Ward had 2 foot surgeries, but one of them was to remove the hardware from his foot. So it's been a lengthy rehab, and at some point they'll have him back. So wanted to go over some things from today, including conversation with Jaylen Null and how the emergence of Null might make them not need Christian Kirk as much. So we'll see how they handle that. But Kirk is trending toward returning this week and has resumed running, and that's a good sign, with no setbacks with his strained hamstring. So more depth you can have. And we'll see if he gets back his starting job. I think that's going to be very fascinating to see. How do the Texans go about that situation? Nico Collins, although no tangible update from DeMeco Ryans, I'm told that Nico is trending toward returning this week from his concussion. So we'll see how he does once he's able to start practicing, if he has any recurrence of symptoms. And I'm not a neurologist, so I don't want to pretend to be one here, but he's doing well. He's feeling a lot better. Symptoms have subsided. So if he can continue to feel that way, then he could have a good chance to play football against the Denver Broncos. We'll get into a little bit of Broncos talk. I kind of want to save some of that for the week as we kind of get into the matchups a little more and where things stand. So good conversation today with Jaylen Null. A lot of confidence for him. He was so excited after the game. He didn't stick around for interviews. Wanted to go see his mom and his fiancée. Cannot blame him. Congratulations to Jaylen, engaged to be married. So good for Jaylen. And he's played some outstanding football. His run after catch, his ability to create separation, his versatility as a punt returner, former Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Year, bright future and present. And I think that he definitely took some good steps. This was a very good all-around game from him, and just listening to some of the talk from him about his confidence and the chemistry that's growing between him and CJ Stroud. Encouraging stuff. Ariante Ursary coming off of a solid game. Their rookie left tackle. Obviously the Seahawks game, that wasn't what you hoped for at all. It was ugly. As Titus Howard said, they were embarrassed. It was a real demoralizing kind of game. But they took it to heart, and they made some improvements. And now they're going to really need to continue those improvements. And we'll get into plenty of depth on this week. But they're playing against the Denver Broncos, who lead the NFL in sacks and quarterback pressures. So what does that mean? Nick Bonito has 8 sacks. There's 4 sacks from Zach Allen. There's also a ton of other pass rushers. When you look at things they can do, John Franklin Myers is a good rusher, formerly of the New York Jets. And they have Justin Strnad, can also get to the quarterback. So overall, this will be difficult. Like I said, Jonathan Cooper, 6 sacks. It'd be difficult for the offensive line. We'll see exactly how much they've improved. Do they backslide to the level that they played against Seattle? Or did this game mean something against an injury-depleted 49ers squad that didn't have really a lot of pass rushers to throw out there? Robert Saleh, pretty much out of guys. No Yetur Gross-Matos. No Bryce Huff. And, of course, Nick Bosa out for the season. So 49ers need a defensive end or some kind of outside linebacker, edge rush guy in the worst possible way. So that's their problem. It's one of the reasons they lost this football game to the Texans. So for the Texans and going ahead, they're when you have Nico Collins back, I think it creates an interesting scenario where you can still throw to Collins, but now you've integrated other targets. So you can go to Xavier Hutchinson, you can go to a Jaden Higgins, you can go to a Jaylin Noel, you He even used Braxton Berrios, see if he's healthy, coming off of the chest injury he had. And so a lot of options for this team. And I think that's a great situation for the Texans as they try to develop a passing game. You got to keep the running game going. Really like what I saw from Woody Marks in that 50-yard catch and run. So some of those things, those check downs, can be big plays if you get into the right guy's hands. And Woody Marks is the right guy. He is that guy, pal. Sorry. That video is funny to me. That is just unintentionally funny. So you look at the Texans, and yes, I think they'll still rotate a left guard with Laken Tomlinson and Juice Scruggs. Still doesn't look like anybody's won the job. They want to cut down on the penalties, and Jake Andrews talking with DeMeco Ryans today. They need to improve in the red zone. They were 1 for 5 in the red zone. They are now 31st in the red zone. That's a problem. And Kaimi Fairburn, yes, he kicked 4 field goals, but that's not ideal. This could have been a blowout win over the 49ers. What if you lose this game because you could not convert? It is hard to convert down there, but they've got to come up with some better plays, and they've got to execute these plays better because what they did simply wasn't good enough. So something that definitely I took notice of. Even in a loss, you want to be pretty analytical about, rather than a win, be analytical about what could have led to a loss. So those were issues, and we'll see how the Texans go forward with those situations. Of course, you can't have a couple penalties from your center, Jake Andrews. A lot of those things can get cleaned up, but need to be cleaned up. CJ Stroud, again, some of my general takeaways from what I saw from him. He's at a point now where he's just really progressed and come back from that Seattle game. That was a rough game. He didn't get the football out fast enough. He didn't do a lot of things very well. Didn't, have good spatial awareness of where he was standing on the field, on those sacks, especially on the near safety. But this, and you saw it from DeMeco Ryans, sort of a conditional type of comment. This is, he thought it was one of the best games he's ever played, and they want to see this from him every week. So they're looking for consistency at the quarterback position, and yes, that's a mild criticism. They want to see more consistency. I thought that between the coaches and the players, there were these what I call healthy confrontations within the building where, the coaches are demanding this, the players want to know why are we doing it this way. I wouldn't say there's been anything real dysfunctional. They can work together, they have worked together, and it's just a matter of, how everyone, respectfully handles disagreements, but ultimately it's the coach's authority, and especially, the buck stopping with DeMeco Ryans when they want to run. I'm sure you guys tuned in the press conference. There was definitely, he made some comments, wasn't very specific about what type of outside noise. Is he talking about fans? Is he talking about media? He made some comments today about how he feels like it's all negativity, and people take things and they're looking for that negative type of report. I don't know. I can only speak for myself, and I can tell you what I'm committed to is the truth, the facts, and being fair. And that, have they always been thrilled with everything I'm doing? I don't know. I would say they respect that I'm doing my job. And so I'm not looking to really referee any disagreements with reporters or DeMeco Ryans or the organization. But, have they always been thrilled with me? No. I've covered the team for a long time. And that's what kind of tends to happen when you're doing your job. Sometimes people won't like it. And, ultimately for me, it's mostly about information, not so much, am I going to have, a tough question in the press conference, or did I say this or whatever. I have lots of opinions, and some of them I keep for me. It's just a lot of it is, for me, it's about the job. And it's about giving you guys accurate, fast, and insightful information and giving you a sense of it. So while that might have been very interesting at the end of the press conference that was on YouTube, ultimately it didn't have anything to do with me. But I respect everyone that was standing up for what they believe in, both sides. It's some interesting kind of dynamic. Reporters and coaches, coaches sometimes they are listening, whether they say they're not or not, or else how would you be aware of the outside noise? So that's a fair point. So you look at, kind of where they're at, and in terms of press relations. I mean, it's not like the press conferences don't go a certain kind of way where questions are answered from everyone involved. All those guys get their questions answered, get their questions in. So it's a fairly same amount of access level for everybody here at a local level. And you just kind of work within the framework of what you get in terms of locker room, the press conferences, if you get any one-on-ones or whatever that might be. But yeah, I mean, I do think this. Generalizing in general isn't great. You want to make sure that if you have a specific problem, in my opinion, then talk to that person about it. Maybe don't talk about it in a press conference. Maybe speak with them privately, have that kind of conversation. I think that's fine. And that, I've been covering the NFL a long time. I've had those kind of conversations. I've had people or call me or have a discussion, either face-to-face or however it might be, to communicate and ultimately try to get on the same page. But, this isn't a popularity contest. This isn't necessarily always about, I'm going to prove my point or debate. The press conferences primarily are about asking questions and trying to get answers. I also don't take the press conferences literally. If a coach says something, I don't think you can always be like, okay, well, you take that to the bank. Half the time, they're not looking to maybe discuss that topic, or, it's not like they may not answer it as thoroughly as someone wants them to. But yeah, just to understand and kind of peel the curtain back a little bit on media and coaches and players. Yeah, it's a long season, and sometimes we're going to get on each other's nerves. That's okay. Healthy discourse. If everybody agreed about everything, how boring would that be, too? So I would say it's important for everybody to respect each other, respect the coach, and it's a two-way street. Respect is a big deal, and people work very hard to be here covering the NFL, and it's a privilege to be here, and it's something that I would say people take very seriously. So if you're here, you're asking questions, you're doing your job, that's great. And that's what I'm all about. And that's what I would say everybody's about, including guys who are asking those questions. So that's fine. I know that might seem to fans like, oh, that's so weird. It has nothing to do with the games or anything like that. But it's fine. People can agree to disagree on something. And I don't think this is that uncommon, where there's a little bit of jousting. It happens in other markets all of the time. It's happened before with Bill O'Brien. It's happened before with other coaches. Happened with Lovie Smith. So this isn't unusual. I know it might seem like to fans like, oh, that was pretty testy, or what's going on here? Stuff happens. So everything I talked about, that was all handled there during the press conference, and just don't want to be, just put my head in the sand and say, oh, we won't discuss that. I'm not going to get very far into it, but I just say, I don't think that's that big a deal. But yeah, that was certainly interesting, and yeah, things like that happen sometimes. So for the Texans, and about some football stuff, Texans have a very challenging game against a very talented Bronco squad, really well coached by Sean Payton. It's going to take a lot to win this home game. And you look at the personnel they have, looking at, having, a good running game with J.K. Dobbins and the rookie R.J. Harvey. So, they are a talented club. There's a team, I think, that really has been built the right way. And, of course, they have Cortland Sutton, who's given the Texans some issues in the past because of his size and the ability to make contested catches. They have Pat Bryant. They've got a few things there with their offense that really makes it go. But this pass rush, leading the NFL in sacks and pressures, that's tough to stop. So the Texans have their work cut out for them. So we're going to see, you pass one test and maybe you got to pass another one. So for the offensive line, they've got to be able to maintain the standard that we saw. Now they've had a good game, no sacks. First time C.J. Stroud wasn't sacked since that playoff game in his rookie season against the Baltimore Ravens, a game that he finished. So that's a big deal. We'll see. Can they keep it up? Broncos are super balanced. They're I think it was 9th in total offense and 5th in total defense. So sound, very sound, with Bo Nix at quarterback, with Patrick Surtain, and so many good football players on the other side of the ball. They've got a really talented defense, and they have a good scheme, and it's going to challenge this Texans team. And if they can beat a team like Denver, then they're kind of in position to be in position, like they're on deck, and they could do something, they could make some noise. They need to win all 3 of these home games, and then they need to beat the Titans, and then we'll kind of see where they are. I think Colts are, probably going to run away with this division. Texans need to aim for the wild card and try to be at one of those spots. And I think that's the thing. Can they peak at the end of the season? Can they get to that point? So Texans will be off on Tuesday. This is a game plan install kind of day, or they draw things up. Never a day off for the quarterbacks. They have a lot of work to do. CJ Stroud, as they come together, and Nick Caley to try to figure out what is the best approach to attack the Broncos, a team that doesn't seem to have a true defensive weakness. So this is going to be a lot tougher than the 49ers, let me tell you that. And it would surprise me if they're able to score as easily as they did against the 49ers. They got to take care of the football. There are a lot of challenges ahead of them, but it's going to be a cool matchup. And I think for the Texans, they've got, if they play the way they did against the 49ers, certainly they can be competitive. They can be in this game. If they play the way they did against Seattle, they can beat really anybody. But they're a team, to me, they don't have the consistency yet, and we'll see if they can start grabbing that. So guys, thanks for tuning into the channel. We had a lot of visitors yesterday. We had a lot of growth in terms of subscriptions, getting close to 18,700. So getting closer and closer to the 19,000 mark. That's my next goal. And please watch, like, subscribe. It helps me, guys, if you watch the entire video or most of the video. That adds to the engagement numbers. This is a contact sport, meaning you need people to click and watch, and that helps me, this is a business. YouTube is not done just for fun. This is work for me. So I appreciate you guys supporting it. Of course, I'm on Twitter and X at @AaronWilson_NFL, Instagram @AaronWilson7128. I was on television last night on Sports Sunday with Randy McElroy and Nick Mantis at KPRC2. And of course, you can read all my articles for free at www.click2houston.com. So guys, until next time, I look forward to our next conversation, and we'll have some more content coming throughout the day. Thanks, bye. Even more?
Yeah, always putting a performance like that on the field, it gives you confidence to just keep growing and being curious within your game, and it's exciting for sure.
Are you seeing things out there a little bit easier, a little bit better now that you're getting a little bit more and more on the field?
Yeah, just getting the reps in, banking those reps, and just using them as learning experiences has helped me a lot. Just gain confidence and be able to play fast.
Can this help the receiving core and also CJ, because this was a game without Nico, he had the production, and now he can look to lots of targets and get Nico back incorporated when he's cleared?
Yeah, like you said, with Nico coming back, it just gives the whole room even more confidence that you got guys across the room that can make plays, and also makes it easier for Nico. Obviously, he's going to get a lot of the attention, so hopefully we can get that attention off of him, and so he can get his one-on-one matchups as well.
It feels like you and CJ have pretty decent chemistry on the deep ball. Was that just natural? A lot of times that doesn't happen as quick as it has, especially with the limited opportunities. What makes y'all have such what appears to be good chemistry on the deep ball?
I think the hardest part is CJ's part. Him actually putting the ball out there. He puts the ball in the perfect spot. So it's really kudos to him being able to do what he does. It's just on me to be in the right spot at the right time. And like I said, he does the hard part in getting the ball there. So he's been really impressive in that way.
You and Higgins seem pretty confident for rookies. What gives y'all? Do y'all feed off of each other? Is it just y'all's natural personalities? What is that?
Yeah, I feel like we're competitive guys, so we want to be competing with the best and play at that level every Sunday or whenever we are playing. So just our competitive edge and just our ability to push each other and hold each other accountable goes a long way in our success.
Is there a moment in the huddle or in the game where you were like, okay, CJ's pretty locked in today, like he's dialed in, he's putting it where he wants? Was there a moment in the game where you're like, okay, this could be one of those days for me?
Really, right off the jump, you get the first drive, you get some third down conversions, and you just see that confidence growing. He's always confident, but you know, getting those completions, getting those third down conversions, and getting a long drive to start the game is a confidence builder, and you can see it growing. And throughout the game, he did a great job.
Similarly off that, did it feel like he was looking for everybody, wherever the play was called, whoever was open there?
Yeah, he was doing a great job at going through his reads and getting the ball out quick when he needed to, and then also making a big play when he needed to. So you could tell he was very comfortable in what he was doing in the game.
Talking about you and CJ on the deep ball, what did you see on that last play before
The last play, the interception. Yeah, I mean, it's just a play that we got to connect on. I feel like we will connect on that many more times in the future. So it's just us being on the same page and knowing where I need to be at the right time. So.
Did it feel like you were going to haul it in when it was on its way?
Oh, yeah. Also being a leader, on top of CJ being a leader. So yeah, Dalton being in this league as long as he has, and just the intelligence that he brings to the huddle each snap, and then also the big plays that he makes to keep the drives going is very huge for us.
Jaylen, what have you heard about the Broncos defense? I know you'll dig into the tape more as the week goes on, but what are you hearing about Denver?
Yeah, like you said, I haven't got too much into the tape so far, but they're a talented team, of course, and their defense flies around, and it's an NFL team, so you got to prepare every week, and this week's not going to be any different. And I know those guys will be coming in ready to play, so we'll have to be ready to play as well.
To have,
I feel like that's something to build on, that game.
Yes, sir.
What do you think, if anything, can kind of be taken from the game and kind of that you guys can take going forward?
Just keep believing in each other, keep trusting in each other, stick to the game plan, be disciplined up front, and really just, attention to detail, all time, playbook, film, meeting room, just intentionality of everything.
You'll have a whole week to get into it, but everybody knows the Broncos lead the NFL in sacks and pressures. What have you heard about the Broncos?
Yeah, I heard a great defensive line, so we just got to come ready. Watch film, do whatever we can, whatever it takes. Game plan this week so we can put ourselves in the best position to go out there and win.
jersey swap with Alfred Collins. Is there any background there? Y'all know each other before the draft process?
Yeah, we trained down there in Plano,
Okay.
Texas, before the draft, and I got a chance to meet him personally, and we've been on a few top 30 visits together. So he's definitely a humble, cool guy, so that's my guy.
You guys have a performance like that yesterday, no sacks allowed for CJ, first time in 2 years that's happened in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Does that kind of open your eyes to like, man, this is, when we are on our stuff, this is kind of what we're capable of doing?
Yeah, you can definitely tell, man, the energy, like, we all was just clicking. We was all uplifting each other. Our offensive guys going up to the defensive guys, dabbing them up, getting them hyped up and ready. Like, they're doing the same thing. So to go out there and have a game like that is just something to continue to build on as a unit, and keep going with the momentum and going leading into the Broncos.